This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team. The final score from the racecourse: Wrexham 0, Leyton Orient 1. And Wrexham are out of the FA Trophy. The second round tends to be the turning point for Wrexham in the FA Trophy. If we get past this point, the least we've managed is the quarter-finals. Trouble is, that's 7 times we got to the second round, and now 4 times we've gone out. Wrexham rotated the side, more notably the shape of the team. We went to 3 at the back. Brad Walker back, of course, was back as a centre-back. The 2 new strikers, Jason Oswell and Cole Stockton, were a pair up front. And Orient as well rotated their squad around a bit. No McAnuff and no Macaulay Bonne, as both sides, I think, approach this match with a suck it and see attitude of, if we go through great, maybe we'll have run this year. If not, we won't shed too many tears about it. Wrexham with the better side, in all honesty, I think, for much of the match, but maybe didn't carve out enough chances to back that up, and the game revolved in the end over a series of penalty decisions which the referee had to make. There were 4 penalty shouts, 2 to each side, and one of them was given. In some senses, although I admit the video may contradict this, maybe the least convincing of the penalty shouts, which was given to Orient and led to their winner. Anyway, Wrexham started positively, and their first near thing was a real near thing. Luke Summerfield, who was really impressive in the more deep role in midfield, picking the ball up 25 yards out and nailing a tremendous strike with his right foot, which hit the base of the left post and bounced clear. I think that Dean Brill, the keeper, just got a fingertip on it, lunging low to his right, and just got enough on it to stop it being what would have been a goal of the season contender. There was a marvellous strike by Summerfield. Really nice work in the build-up as well. The Wrexham midfield 3 operated pretty well. The shape was good. Akil Wright and Luke Young were constantly high up the pitch, making runs, pressing high up the pitch, and just trying to force Orient 4-4-2 back. And certainly on this occasion, both Wright and Young made good runs, dragged the Orient midfield with him, and gave Summerfield plenty of space to set himself and drill in that exceptional shot, which nearly led to the lead. At the other end, Jordan Maguire-Drew, remember him? Making his first start for Orient, went close. Admittedly, I think it was a cross. I don't think it was intended as a shot, but he picked the ball up on the right-hand side. Typically whipped the ball in with a bit of shape on it, and Christian Dibble in Wrexham goal did really well to adjust his feet, stretch, and tip the ball over the bar. It was a nasty one for Dibble, who really adjusted himself very, very well. And then it was Wrexham back on the attack again. Jennings, particularly high up on the left-hand side, playing as a wing-back, was trying to be very proactive, was trying to drive his man back, and was trying to win the ball out the pitch, and managed it on a few occasions. On this occasion, he did exceptionally well to win the ball, and then to help it move on to Stockton, who turned from 25 yards out, drove a powerful shot just wide of the left post. Next came the first of the penalty shouts, and I think it was the most cast iron of them. It was a really good build-up by Wrexham. Carrington getting high up on the right-hand side. Not much support at first, but Akil Wright made a good run ahead of him, and Carrington did well to play a well-judged pass to him. Wright hit the goal line, cut inside him, beat his man, and went into the danger area. Players were waiting for the drag back. He pulled it back perfectly for Luke Young, 10 yards out, and Young, as he does, nailed the shot with his right foot. The game didn't go in because of what looked to us like a tremendous save by an Orient defender, lunging low to his right and pushing it away with his hand. And we were all a bit astonished when the referee just waved play on. Wrexham convinced that it was a penalty. It looked like a heck of a save to us, but Wrexham hugely frustrated by that. Soon afterwards, it was Oswell trying to get on in on the things. The ball won well again by Wright high up the pitch, and Oswell turning 20 yards out, trying an opportunistic shot on the turn. Wouldn't come down in time though, and it went over the bar. The final action of the half though saw Orient putting a bit of pressure on. Maguire-Drew really doing well, picking the ball up and playing a well-judged ball over the top to find Alabi, and the ex-Chester striker driving in, cut inside well, beat his man, and then from the corner of the 6-yard box drove the ball powerfully across Dibble. Dibble did ever so well to get his light hand to it low down and deflect the ball away. The ball spun wide. Brophy tried to attack it at the far post, and he was the second penalty shout. Carrington stretching for it, appeared to clip him. It was the far side of the pitch from us. I've got to say, to my eyes, it looked like a penalty. I thought Carrington did catch him. Brophy stayed down. The referee, though, wasn't interested and blew for half-time. Moments later, And so a scoreless first half between the two sides, who between them have equal the best defence in the division. Second half saw Wrexham start very positively. Have you noticed how we do quite a lot? Second half, we seem to be consistently making chances in the first minute. This time it was Luke Young getting the ball 25 yards out and driving the ball with power, but couldn't get it on target, went just wide of the right post. Wrexham, though, continued to push on. Carrington made a tremendous run from his right wing-back starting position, coming inside narrow, feeding Jennings. Jennings with a good return pass, and Carrington found himself bursting round the back of the fence, left-hand side, and here came, firstly, the third penalty shout, as Happy was done for pace and seemed to pull at Carrington in the penalty area. Again, looked like a decent shout to me. Carrington, though, stayed on his feet, stood the ball up across at the far post, which cut out the keeper, Brill. Oswell at the far post, 6 yards out, well, in front of an open goal, but it was actually a hell of a difficult chance because it was a difficult one to reach, and at full stretch he did really well just to get his toe to it. Couldn't get his foot around it and directed towards the empty net, though, and the ball bounced loose and behind him. The danger wasn't over yet, though. When the ball was partially cleared, it fell to Summerfield, and from 25 yards he drilled in a shot which went just wide of the right hand post. But soon afterwards would come the decisive goal, 62nd minute, and the fourth of those penalty shouts at either end, and the one that was given. Maguire drew the well in the initial build-up to hold it up and help it on. Brophy, now then, Orient at half-time had switched to three at the back to try and counteract Wrexham, and it worked pretty well. Brophy had come on as a sub in the league here in November, and Orient won 2-0, and was absolutely outstanding coming inside and creating. Now forced to be a wing-back, I must be honest, I was thinking in the commentary that that could be a turning point, the duel between he and Carrington in Wrexham's direction. If Carrington could be progressive and force Brophy to drop back and play as a left wing-back in his own defensive third, maybe that would be a factor that would help Wrexham. In the end, it was the factor that decided the game at the other end of the pitch. Brophy, typical quality from him. He cut inside and beat Roberts, then managed to get goal side of Carrington as well. Carrington came across and made a challenge. Brophy went down. The referee pointed to the spot, and in some respects, was it the least convincing of the four penalty shouts? I don't know, but if the referee certainly judged that the amount of contact by Carrington was not permissible, pointed to the spot, and Harold stepped up. He'd had an excellent game all along up front, holding the ball up superbly, and he drilled the ball into the bottom left corner. No chance for Dibble. Wrexham from then on were pushing on, trying desperately to create chances. They threw on attacking substitutions as Rakeel Pike came on up front, and Pike did very well. In fact, he was winning a lot of challenges in the air and was very persistent and occupied the centre-backs. They then went to three up front when Ben Tollett came on as well, and they threw Paul Rutherford on for Mark Carrington as a right wing-back, so they tried to get more attacking thrust down that right-hand side. They were assisted in their boldness by Orient going down to 10 men. Daft challenge, really, by Judd. Miles should have been booked in the first half, and in the second, as the ball was knocked long to the corner flag, Pike executed a really nice turn to come inside him. Judd committed himself, took him down, and the referee had a simple decision to show him a second yellow card. Orient, though, stayed bold, and Justin Edinburgh should be applauded for that. He left Allaby and Harold, the two strikers, on. He brought on Josh Koroma as well, a player with real pace in the transition, who's quick on the break, and as a result of that, not only were Wrexham kept at arm's length, as we'll hear later when you hear the analysis with Doug Tharme and myself, Orient defended superbly in their penalty area, but they also were the side that looked more likely until the closing stages, with Koroma's pace supporting those strikers and giving them a real option on the counter-attack. There were two chances for Koroma. The first one saw Brophy, again, typically break forwards on the left-hand side, good run with intelligence, came in narrow, committed defenders drawing them to him, and then stood the perfect ball to Koroma on the edge of the area, whose finish was poor. As he slashed at it, it went well over the bar, and then a couple of minutes later, a much better effort by Koroma, this time using his pace, a blistering run by him from his own half into the penalty area, and he drove the ball across Dibble. The keeper was beaten and went just wide of the left post. Edinburgh nearly getting a reward for his intelligent boldness, not only in keeping that counter-attack threat alive, but also in occupying Wrexham's back three with the front two, so that they couldn't come in and join in as often as they would have liked. Wrexham really starting to overcommit at the end, and they did, as a result, carve out some half chances. Jennings with a big diagonal. Rutherford helping it on into the box. An excellent piece of defending by Elokobi, who just about managed to stay on his feet and just poke his toe to beat Stockton to it. The ball dropped to Pike, and as it went across him, he took a swipe at him on the edge of the area. Just couldn't quite control his shot, and it screwed off the outside of his foot and wide of the right-hand post. Then it was Tollitt, who had a strange sort of game when he's shown real quality when he's come off the bench. And this one, he was getting frustrated consistently, running into trouble, getting dispossessed. But on this occasion, he managed to pick it up on the left-hand side, ripped in a nasty cross, which is half cleared. And when he picked it up again, he cut inside, got to the edge of the area. The Orient defenders backed off a bit, and he lashed in a shot, but it was always going over the bar. In the 4th minute of added time, there was one final opportunity. Lawler with the ball over the top. It looked too straight, but Stockton was persistent, kept chasing, and Brill maybe could have come out and tried to clear it out on the edge area. Didn't come, and that meant that Stockton was able to attack it and hit a shot, but it was just bouncing away from him. Elokobi, who had to come in to cover as a centre-back, he started as a left-back, but Ekpiteta went off injured early on, just got his body in the way enough to make Stockton stretch, and his effort on the stretch went just wide again of the right post. So Wrexham huffing and puffing, pushing hard, but that's now 9 games out of 13 when they failed to score. They showed endeavour, they showed enthusiasm, and they showed tactical flexibility. The midfield showed genuine energy. Young and Wright both pressing hard and pushing on and trying to put pressure on the Orient players in their own half. Summerfield switching the ball around intelligently. The wing-backs, particularly Jennings, very progressive, and the centre-backs as well looking solid. Walker certainly passed the ball out well from the back, and he defended well, as indeed did all three, apart from the instance of the penalty when Brophy was able to beat 2 men a bit too easily. And the strikers showed some promise as well, but the fact of the matter is that Wrexham are out of the FA Trophy, and that's now 4 defeats in a row. And not to mention a rather hideous recent run against Orient, continuing our longest run against them without a win and losing 3 times in a row to them for the first time in our history. But on the more immediate concern, I suppose, is just arresting the potential effect on morale that 4 defeats has. Wrexham need to bounce back with a tough game coming up at Fylde. They really need to put a good week's work in a training ground to try and regain a bit of momentum after what was a decent performance, but ultimately a frustrating result. For further analysis of the game, have a listen to what we said on Callan FM after the final whistle. Myself, and I'm very pleased to say, our co-commentator Doug Tharme, the Wrexham's centre-back, who did a cracking job in summary. Have a listen to what we had to say about it on Callan FM. This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team. Well, frustration for Wrexham. They've rotated the side a bit, tried a new shape, but again it hasn't brought a goal. That's 9 games out of 13 that they haven't scored in. But I've got to say, Doug, that was we asked a lot of questions of a strong defence. I feel that one of the key things to take out of this game is Orient's defence, despite losing Ekpiteta injured early on, they actually defended extremely well, didn't they?
Yeah, no, they were resolute in what they did. I think they did the basics quite well. They won the headers, they cleared the ball when they had to, didn't overplay. So they didn't really give us a chance to play on their mistakes. I think that's all you can really ask of a defence anyway. And then you sort of have a look at how we tried to break them down. You know, we made chances. It's not like it's been a game where we've not created anything. It's not been a game where they've completely shut us out. They've controlled the ball. I think if anything, we were the better team. We've been unfortunate with the shots we had. Been unfortunate with how the ball's fallen. You know, I'm not going to pry too much on the decisions, but you could say that they could have gone our way. So I think it's unlucky. It's not like we've played poorly. I think the lads have actually done quite well there. They'll be disappointed. It's a competition we're no longer in. It's a game lost and a game we haven't scored in, but we won't be too disheartened because we can take positives out of the game.
And the shape looked decent as well. I mean, it's a penalty rather than us getting broken down in open play. They didn't make that many chances. There was the tip over by Dibble, but that I think was a mishit cross more than anything else. Yeah. And then the good save by Dibble at the end of the first half, and then any other chances we conceded really were just on the break when we were committing, trying to get back in the game. So the 3 at the back. And I know you can be biased because the more centre-backs you can squeeze into a side from your point of view, the better. But the 3 at the back looked pretty decent, I thought. Yeah,
no, I think it's a good option to have. I think as a squad we need to be versatile because in games that have just gone, so Salford away is probably the best example. where we struggled to break a team down, who ended up, a lot of bodies in and around the box. We were limited almost with Brad playing in that defensive midfield role, coming back deep, almost playing as that third centre back anyway. So I think if we were to work on that as a squad, and we keep building on it week in, week out, there's definitely a foundation there. We've got the right players for it. But even if we were to, continue with the 4-3-3, the diamond that we've been doing throughout the season, I think having a third one that we can change into. We've got versatile players. So as you see, you've got Robbo and Brad playing at the back there. Obviously, we've got Kieran and the skipper to come back in for centre half, so we can, push those players into positions where maybe they are a little bit more used to, a little bit more comfortable. I think it's good signs. Obviously, the result is disappointing, but the performance as a whole, I think I've been quite impressed with the way that they dealt with certain situations. Again, I mean, how many games can you say this season that we haven't been broken down and we haven't had like an utmost of chances? I think most games we have the more chances, the better chances, and as soon as we start putting them away, I think a lot of the teams that we've spoken to this year have said we're the best footballing team that they've come up against, and it's only the fact that the net hasn't rustled as much as we want it to is our downfall, and that will change. So I think it's just a matter of keep working on it in training, keep working as hard as we are, and just know that all the players in the dressing room are committed to getting us promotion this year.
With the two strikers as well today, looking to address that, of course, and they both look lively up front, trying to test the Orient defence. As I said, I think that as individuals in the unit, Orient defended extremely well.
No, absolutely. We've had quite a few lads up there today, seeing what they could do. I thought Cole did well holding it up, so we've got runners beyond him. That could definitely work in our favour. Ozzy, he had chances. He's always looking for the goal. So as soon as he starts putting the ball in the back of the net, goals. We've got Chrissy on the bench, Mike. We've got options up there. I think just need to find a little bit of form. I think if this is our slump this year, if we can get out of it, we'll look back at this and say maybe we were better for it because we ended up trying new things. We didn't, keep working on winning games 1-0, because I think that's what last year probably did us towards the end of the year, is that we were relying on our defence too much, and as soon as we were conceding one goal, we weren't really looking like we were going to score. So if we work on it now, become better for it, as I say, I think we'll be alright in the long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Salford lost 4 over Christmas, and they don't seem to be panicking too much right now, do they? A little blip that happens in every season, doesn't it? But,
absolutely. No, I think even if you look at it, you'd rather in a 3-game stretch lose 1, win 2 than draw 3. I think if we're losing a few now, if we go on a winning streak and end up scoring a few goals and getting some points on the board, then come March and April, May and April, when it becomes important, I think we'll look back on this and we won't worry too much.
Yeah, exactly. Only 30 seconds or so left before we go on now, but just to very briefly, just reiterate as well, you're back in training now. That's a good sign. Yeah,
no, last 2 days back in training, no problems. Physio was a little bit annoyed at me yesterday. I just wanted to keep staying out and striking a ball, but no, I'll keep working on myself. I've got things that I wanted to improve beforehand, so now I'll keep working on that and hopefully I'll be back in the team.
Excellent news, that, great, and let's hope you're out there soon helping us out as we now can concentrate on the league, because that's what you always say when you got knocked out the cup.
Concentrate on the league.
Who cares about the cup? Wembley's for wimps.
It's overrated, I heard.
Exactly. Yeah, it's rubbish. Believe me. If our last 2 experiences there were anything to go by, it's definitely rubbish. But anyway, thank you so much, Doug, for joining us. It's been absolutely brilliant to hear your insights, and you've done an absolutely cracking job.
Thanks very much.
Sadly for Wrexham, of course, out of the FA Trophy, the final score of Wrexham 0, Leyton Orient 1. I'll hand back to the studio. This is the Final Whistle podcast from the Wrexham AFC media team.